Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Flux. I got a lot of requests for this here, just kind of asking why is it pumping the last 24 to 48 hours, and we're going to see if we can find that out, of course. It does look like it's a decent continuation, but we'll obviously find out more specifically. And if you are new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people how to trade, I hope you can learn something here today. And my goal and my passion is to help you become a better trader, right? So ultimately, that's the goal and purpose. So I do have a trading academy, community, and signal group. Link in the description below. CryptoCache.tech is a site where you can go to register. I do also provide discounts for military and, of course, third world countries / low income housing. So message me direct if you fit that profile. Either way you look at it here, for Flux, what's going on? What the flux is happening here, right? That's kind of the question, and we'll go ahead and address that. And take a look at let's go ahead and start with kind of standard stuff and work our way down. We can see what the simple moving average is. We can tell that we are getting rejected tentatively off of the 50 and potentially even the 200. In other words, the price came up almost all the way to the 200. It hit that Fibonacci retracement level about $1.58, and then it came back down. We also have a similar scenario here where it hit the 50, broke through that, and came back down as well. And you can see this kind of interesting little line here. I mean, it's like you can tell there's just like a point of contention where the price is unwilling to go any higher than that. So a clean close above the 50-day SMA I think would be a very strong start. It may not happen today, but if just say tomorrow, the day after we get that, that would give us the confirmation we're looking for to likely have a continuation. Now keep in mind, with this red day here from, on 30th, that was a strong red day from Bitcoin too. So, it's not perfect. It could very well decrease again if we see somewhere in the range of 36, 37,000 from Bitcoin once more, which is possible. So just keep that in mind. We're not in the clear, even though even if we were to get confirmation above that, we were still very reliant on Bitcoin not doing terrible, if that makes any sense. But good news is if you look at the big picture here, you can see that Flux is kind of averaging itself out. It didn't go any lower recently than its most recent low back in February. So good news is 125 is essentially the lowest point which we should expect to see for Flux, at least so far this year. Obviously, when we hit 30,000 from Bitcoin, Flux was down in the $1.12 range. Okay, so we could see a candle wick down to the 105 range, so to speak, as a worst case scenario if we were to see Bitcoin continue to progress lower. Okay, so just something to kind of pay attention to. We also have significantly amount of lower volume now than we did previously, and that factors in as well. That pretty much implies there's less buying pressure and the price could continue lower too in that sense. Once again, good news is you look at the volume the last 2, 3, 4 trading days, it's significantly higher than most days previous. So that's a very positive sign. So as long as we can continue to increase or maintain that level of volume, I think we're going to be in much better shape. All right, so again, all good stuff there in that sense for the most part. Just keep in mind key level resistance at about 150, right around the 151, 152 range. Looking at the 4-hour, let's see what we got here. Of course, we got a pretty instant rejection there, but if we kind of look at TD sequential, we can see we're getting close to an exhaustive state. It's been, a full 8 4-hour candlesticks essentially, to the upside, right? So I mean that's a decent amount of movement, and in that sense, we got to understand that 24 to 48 hours worth of continuation, it's going to start becoming tired or exhausted and want to come back down. That's kind of what we're seeing here. So I would think it would be kind of foolhardy to expect the price to continue to increase from here, because honestly, if it were to, it'd be terrible also because you need to establish higher highs and higher lows. In this case, if you're just making just a straight parabolic movement, that's why I don't love parabolic movements. It doesn't help for that consistency and increase, if that makes sense. And what I mean by consistency is just a nice healthy staircase pattern. Most coins, they're gonna want to kind of waver. You have to go up and down in some cases. If we just go straight up, it's going to come down a lot harder. So it's actually kind of good. It got rejected here at that Fibonacci retracement of about 158. Coming back down, we shouldn't expect the price to come too much lower because ideally we want to see this current low is the same level as the previous low, the previous high. Okay, so as long as we don't go lower than the previous high, that's a good sign. Even if we were to and we were to bounce off of 144, it wouldn't be terrible. But the key here is that we want to establish higher lows. So again, we're making higher highs, which is great, but the next low cannot be lower than the previous. Okay, so again, as long as the next low is somewhere in this range here, we're going to be in good shape. Okay, so and that's ultimately what we're looking for. So we probably want about another 24 hours of consolidation to a lower price point between 140 and 150. Then of course, inevitable sideways action and then increase from there. All right, so mostly good stuff there in that sense. We also just want to keep in mind too that the 200-day SMA on the 4-hour is also tentatively working as resistance. And I know you're asking yourself, well, what do you mean it's a tentative resistance because it broke above and closed above? That's true, but honestly, you want to have at least 2 or 3 candles worth of confirmation before you kind of affirm the fact that you're staying above that level. And this is pretty obvious that it might have peaked up in the last hour and then came right back down. So it's really not a consistent marker there. You need to have 2 or 3 candlesticks, I would say, closing above a key level resistance to get that confirmation you're looking for. And those are things I talk about a lot in my Trading Academy as well within my community. So make sure you watch that. I do talk about confirmation and help you understand kind of what it takes to get there. A lot of situations are different, but generally speaking, confirmation is really helping you understand that you're on the right side of tracks and you're not jumping in when it's overextended or prematurely. We probably want to wait a little bit longer for a pullback if that's kind of, if you can wrap your head around that. All right, so that's kind of the general consensus there. Taking a look here though at the 1 hour. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here with this. We're back up above the cloud, which is fantastic. So we just got to keep in mind that confirmation above the cloud is really, really good sign. If we take a look at the 4 hour too, I didn't look at this here, but if you have a MACD convergence in the recent past and a break above the 4 hour, that's typically a sign for entry. In other words, that does give you good confirmation you're on the right side of tracks. While we're not confirmed above a key level resistance yet, which is extremely important to understand, we are tentatively on the 1 hour and the 4 hour in good shape in that sense because we broke above these key level resistances, and that's a very good start. So the price were to come back down once again and consolidate around 144, it'd be perfect, kind of get a bounce off the cloud, and the price continues up naturally. So honestly, it's looking very, very good here in that sense from Flux. Like, it does look like it wants to have a nice healthy continuation. We're making higher highs and higher lows on the shorter time frames. And honestly, even the macro looks pretty good. Like the daily, I like what I see here. I just don't love the fact that we haven't closed firmly above this level here yet. Again, if we close above there today, all well and good. Just expect the price to retrace some because, once again, we're overextended on the 4 hour, which really just tells us that we only have a short while, maybe another 4 to 8 hours worth of continuation of the upside before we see the price come back down. Okay, so again, it could continue to progress higher. Just expect it to come back down and to kind of bounce or retrace in the relative near future if it wants to continue this healthier pattern, right? If it doesn't, it could continue straight up. Of course, that definitely happens. But do we really want that? Do we want these peaks and valleys where the price shoots up and down? I'd much rather see the price progress positively, contrary to what Bitcoin's doing and all the nonsensical stuff that we're seeing there, right? That is just kind of generally what we're looking at here. So Flux is honestly looking pretty good. I think that the overall consensus is that it should continue to progress higher. It's definitely looking like it wants to try. If we can continue to maintain this volume, break through that key level resistance, close above our simple moving average 50 on the 4 hour, I think we're going to be looking pretty good. Or correction, that's a 1 day, 50-day SMA. So again, big picture looking pretty decent, more positive than negative here. I think the bottom is in tentatively at 125. Keep in mind, Bitcoin travels closer to 30,000. We could see a price point below 125. All right, that's pretty much all I got here for you today. I hope you learned something, of course. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link in the description below. I do look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.